Hello everyone and welcome back to another episode of the Committee Reads! I am your host KWCs and with me today I have Greyshot151, GVR, and Nagoda. And today we will be reading Match 153, Dogora vs. Mothra Leo by Andrew Sudomersky? I don't know, he sounds like an asshole. Several weeks ago, something made its descent from the atmosphere. Gloomy storm clouds reflected the hearts of the fear-stricken peoples of eastern Russia as an otherworldly entity consumed its wealth and minerals. When the space monster was pleased with the offering, it made its way to the south. Its next victims fell one by one. Newkirk, Pyongyang, Busan, Hiroshima, Shanghai, Taipei. Hey, a
little reference to
many prayers were offered to repel. I'm sorry,
you're mispronouncing
I
some of these
Asian.
cities, you know.
I do not know how to pronounce some of this stuff. I just looked up on Google and said, "What's the path mark to here?" Okay, cool. Many prayers were offered to repel the abnormal life form, yet all for naught. All except for a few that had their prayers heard. It followed its instincts, plaguing the world with its presence. Many of the predators turned prey that approached with gleaming inorganic flesh, who sought to dominate him only for them to sate its hunger. Yeah, look, it's switching between him and it. Great start. For the following time, cycle will continue as it traverse the world. Consume, fight, move on. Between the island of Taiwan and the Philippines, ravaging winds tossed the waves in savage fury, and the heavy downpour bombarded the ocean's surface. Should have been bombarding, whatever. The space jellyfish swims, swam through the oceans of clouds with unnatural grace, looking to consume more and more unceasingly. Yet it was not until a new kind of hero made its presence known. One who would bring peace to the millions of restless souls who died at its hand. Mothra Leo would be sure to fight to the end for all of humanity, a valiant knight in the brotherhood of the vanguard who protect Earth and its inhabitants from all threats. Good gosh, that's a weirdly structured sentence looking back at it. Yes, it should.
Shouldn't Earth be
They're just
capitalized?
protecting the soil. Yes, he just protects soil.
Mothra Leo just protects ground.
So as the guardian monsters are kept kept occupied by otherworldly problems reigning throughout, Leo would go to tackle the uninvited guest gorging itself on the planet's natural resources. Yes.
So otherworldly,
I'm
words.
I'm dying inside right now. Yes.
So they're dealing with worldly problems, despite the mile-tall jellyfish eating.
Oh no, I think
Japan.
that might have been purposeful, actually. As the other guardian monsters were kept occupied by other worldly problems. So it's actually other problems of the world. The other guardian monsters are dealing with other stuff on the Earth. Leo's going to take care of it.
Nerds, move on.
Look, I'm just going to say Dogora I feel like Dogora should take priority.
But Mothra Leo's
here.
pretty strong.
Who knows? Maybe Bacon and Space Godzilla are doing some things. Who knows?
I think they'd be doing something against Dogora.
Had she lived long enough to witness his life post-metamorphosis, his mother would have been proud. His supersonic flight booms past the tidal waves as he beelines toward the celestial organism. Humanity and even the rest of the world rests on his shoulders. Not rested, but rests on his shoulders.
Wow.
Yeah.
Face drop.
He just face dropped his desk.
Hear his pain, his own physical pain.
Dude, 153 is destroying me. I don't know how I'm going to handle 155.
Is literally hitting KWCs in the head as he reads it.
Dogora ignored the insignificant moth and proceeded to traverse the set course he was already on. It should be it, because Dogora is not a he. Even so, I guess that wouldn't have mattered had I been consistent. Mothra Leo, however, would let himself be known to the extraterrestrial titan. The emerald moth assails the invader with strands of multicolored light from the trioculi on his forehead, each ripping into Dogora's form. This does not go unnoticed. Remember that, folks? This does not go unnoticed. It does not. As the Leviathan swims under the sea of clouds with malicious intent, it whips out its grasping tendrils. It hopes to either grapple or strike the body of the airborne deity. The arms lash out, only for Leo to evade them with agile maneuverability and press the assault with jade bolts from his wings. Dogora's fleshy interior blackens with every strike, but the trillions of cells rejuvenate the damaged skin in a quick matter of seconds. More cross-heat laser beams and energized bolts explode against the alien's body, each shredding parts of its form and decapitating two of its tentacles, which fall into the ocean below. Instead of repairing its lost limbs, another tentacle sprout from Dogora's body. Another tentacle sprout from Dogora's body and lunges for Leo. Unable to react in time, the son of Mothra is consumed with acidic cells, scalding his body with vicious burns. The grip tightens, and Leo's furry abdomen is slowly eaten away until an illuminating yellow light erupts from his chest. With the Lilith arm dispersed, the moth deity incinerates the nearby clusters with jade-colored bolts from his wings. Pass.
Oh, I'm starting to remember why I don't remember this match.
You're gonna need to go fix the timeline.
Yeah. Okay, well, nutrients flow through the celestial being's cells. It was unlike anything the alien fought before. It was far from the carbon minerals he would normally feast upon, yet the pulsating energy served as a great substitute for his journey. He needed more. Expanding the gaping hole underneath its form, everything began to be vacuumed. From the dark electric clouds to the heavy droplets of water to the powerful gusts of typhoon winds, Mothra Leo was no exception. Fumbling with the airstream, the great moth struggled to regain balance. His life hung in the balance of a mere couple of seconds, yet it was enough. His form is bathed in an aura of bright green light and equalizes with the vacuumed air passing by. With all his might, Leo pushes his body against the pulling force, loading his body with intense stress. Eventually, he reaches the peak of his speed in the form of the Excel Dash. Escaping the grasp of the vacuum with velocity that long exceeds the sound barrier's limits, Leo navigates through the air and marks Dogora as his target once more. He elevates to an altitude above the space monster, hidden by the remnants of the thunder clouds. As he passes, he unloads yet another yellowish mega breast cannon into the jellyfish at a rate beyond supersonic. Onto the jellyfish at a rate beyond supersonic, correct. I was testing and you passed. Although it emits no vocalization known to any earthbound organism, it jerks violently upon being nearly torn in half from the assault and stops inhaling its skies around him. Mothra Leo came to a steady slow as the effects of the Excel Dash began to fade. It would be inevitable that the space fiend would try to consume him once more. He couldn't let that happen. For the sake of the people who lost their lives, he must end this here and now. Few options were cut short, much to Leo's dismay. Given the high altitudes where his foe resides, the sparkling pyre road would be relatively ineffective. Dividing it into the much smaller monsters for wider attack range would be suicidal due to the acidic properties, and he felt uncertain to whether his reflective green powder would be of any good against his enemy. Hopefully, what he has available will be able to suffice.
Leo,
especially with that last one there. I think I'm pretty confident it's poison. So at the time I wrote this, I was an idiot. I didn't know that. I was like, oh shit.
Well, also just because you'd think that being able to spread his beams farther out with the reflective
totally
thing would be helpful against this.
You can't blame Leo for that. You blame the author for that.
Yes.
UX.
Let's see what the author also did. He nosedives down near the ocean's raging surface and then banks a hard turn to attack Dogora from the underside. Kaiju X coming in for the tag team? No. Upon launching up from the water at a sharp 90-degree angle, a coat of jade energies cover his form.
Aileron.
His body rotates to form an aileron roll.
It's not the
Everyone
barrel
knows
roll.
what the aileron roll is. I think they did that in Star Wars.
Isn't the aileron
As
roll
the
what
amount-
everyone thinks the barrel roll
Yes, it
is?
It's the thing that people
What is an
say the
aileron
barrel roll is.
Like,
It's a barrel roll.
so what's a
Right,
barrel roll?
is
You're not
where
answering the
blade
question.
Sort of like does. I guess it's sort of.
Like a circle.
Yeah.
There's like a circle movement. Like there's a barrel. Like it's going around a barrel.
Okay. Oh, okay. I think I get it. Okay. Well, in any case, as the amount of energy intensifies, bypassing the entity would be no easy feat while keeping continuous ascent, and Dogora would not make it easy for him. Though still recovering from the rip through its body, the two pieces meld together as a single whole once more. Branches of tentacles lash out at the twirling moth, with very few of them making tears to his wings. Because of the instability with his flight, Leo had to unleash his Excel pile load prematurely. A dozen jade rings pulsate behind him as they pound against the tentacles, and some of its form nearly shattering the limbs after the first few waves. Repairs would take a while. For Leo, it might be all the time he's got. Mothra Leo burst from the sea of clouds like a flying fish. The moments it took to calibrate with his torn wing forced him to sacrifice precious time. But as soon as he was ready, not a moment was put to waste, circling the area in approximation where the jellyfish space beast rests.
Yes, it is. Jellyfish space
That's a
beast.
mouthful. Oh. Where the jellyfish space beast rests, a hue of green that rivals the brightness of sunlight trails behind him. In a perfect circle, the mythical shape takes on a form, one which many who've seen it feel both the fear and awe of its awesome power. After the ritual is performed, a massive flux of energy piles to the center of his lethal attack and fires the Sunstrike Buster with all of his might. Pass.
We don't need
Not
to
this
describe that
time.
symbol.
Don't worry, it's just an ancient symbol. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, just, ancient symbol, everyone knows it. Deep in the dwelling place of aquatic life, abnormalities stir. Large writhing arms sprawl on the seafloor trying to feed on material of sustenance. Much of the depths contain many unreachable mineral deposits, so it supplied the limbs with the necessary nutrients to thrive, even underwater. Quickly, they grew at a disturbing rate, consuming everything else in their path. It no longer became just a hunt for minerals. Organic and inorganic objects became a part of their diet, and they sought more. It, him, they.
I am willing to switch
pronoun,
between it
Kaiju
and they,
X.
but gosh darn it, keep him out of it.
And they sought more. While the duplicate offspring lacked the gargantuan scale of their forefather, they would certainly find that their expansive taste for all of Earth's natural resources will satisfy their monstrous appetite. Thus, the Dogoras made their ascent to the world beyond the murky depths. The thunderclouds broke apart as a shining beacon of hope for a few that witnessed it slice the dark skies in two. Sunlight revealed the form of Dogora, whose core has been struck by the dazzling holy light. Immediately, the celestial being dissipated when consumed by the searing beam of energy. Anything that was spared from divine judgment fried from the intense solar-like heat, killing the last of Dogora's cells. Clumps of charcoal flesh plummet to the evaporated oceans below, where it will be buried for the rest of its days. From the opening, where illuminated sunlight shines, Mothra Leo descends like an angel sent by God. He oversees nature, restoring balance and harmony as the storm continues to blaze. The tidal waves collapse, filling the hole where the Sunstrike Buster left its mark. Clouds repair the dark skies, blotting out the sunlight once more. Leo was about to return to his birthplace of Infant Island, but decided to scan the area one more time. His forest green compound eyes saw a rumbling of white foam disturb the stormy seas. Then a second one followed. From the Pacific Ocean, the great emerald moth saw two ever so familiar figures emerge. The jellyfish-like space creatures sought to feed, and feed they shall. Mothra Leo knew his limits. final blow against the previous Dogora sapped his energy cells dry, and the majority of his options were still unavailable. Just like back away and charge
Someone else
up.
can deal with it.
Easy.
Don't worry about it.
I was trying to make a joke about, like, energy cells, like Godzilla.
Oh, yeah,
like,
totally.
Go to the opposite side of the city.
Yeah.
Hold down the charge button for, like, an hour. Perform the XL pile load once more would be risky with his injury sustained from earlier. Additionally, the massive stress on his body and wings is taking a toll on him.
There was another.
Was there another 10 swap? I'm kind of, like, blanking.
Don't worry, man. I feel you.
I'm, like, zoning out. So the best he can do is shred them with what energy he has left. Though grateful that the duo is nowhere nearly as large as their colossal parent, they still pose a threat if left alone. Yet his determination to fight for humankind lifted his spirits, giving him the incentive to continue this dragging fight. It's dragging, all right. This time he will be sure that nothing remains of the Dogora threat. Diving right for them, Leo fires his multicolored beams from his oculi.
I was trying to
Can't
be
just
fancy.
say, like, eyes.
It was edgy me of 2015.
Even though they're not even from his eyes, they're from, like, the little triangle on his head.
Yeah, oculi are a type of eyes, yeah.
Their eyes? Their eyes?
Yes,
no,
those
like
are
the
eyes.
triangle on Leo's forehead.
Like little, well, I don't know if they're canonically eyes, but I know on real insects, they have two big like a mantis, they have two big compound eyes and three simple eyes.
Okay, whatever you say. I don't think you don't have room to be talking smart with me after writing this match. They pierce and shred the creature's anterior. The Dogora clone spastically jerks in reaction, yet echoes no cry of agony. For Leo, who has fought Kaiju of various strengths in the past, this is unsettling. The feeling had been nagging at him since his encounter with the first Dogora, but now it haunts his sentient consciousness. Never once did he think he could find a sense of comfort in reality with the roar of another, good or evil. The first of two creatures is assailed by the streaks of light, nearly tearing it asunder. The second projects many tendrils from its body and stabs the emerald moth with its many hand-like appendages. The chemical properties of Dagora's flesh take effect, eating away at Mothra Leo's abdomen and wings. The great moth redirects his energies into his wings, now with exposed holes from the corrosive flesh, which spark with harsh bolts and fries the tentacles. Wait, it fries the tentacles, right. Not fried. The Jade Energy...
Not Kentucky Fried,
French
just normal fried.
Yeah. The Jade Energy hardens and dries out the icky skin. Icky.
Mickey? Ooh.
Just, I don't know, something about KWCs matches with all the big fancy words you can find in the dictionary, and then icky. But the newfound terrors bring him to a slow, panicking descent into the ocean, to the ocean surface. Even with his winged bolts of lightning reduced in strength, his winged bolts, not the bolts of wings, the bolts themselves have wings. Leo would continue to try with his might. The cross-heat lasers lay waste to the duplicates as they advance, yet it wouldn't be enough to permanently stop them. His body crashes into the rough sea, and his wild, holy wings beat uncontrollably in vain. The Dagoras, though torn and disembodied from the declining wrath of the beams of light, drift toward him. Pass.
What came after was a feast they would never forget. Simultaneously, they constrict their regenerating tentacles around the guardian moth, burning away his insect hide and fluffy exterior. Every time Leo resisted, they would tighten their grip and embed their arms into his body. His nutrients flowed through their forms, growing larger with each passing moment. One last valiant attempt was made by the heroic Kaiju with a mega breast cannon, but it was all for naught. Soon, Mothra Leo's beautiful forest green eyes dimmed, yet they still feed on his corpse. There would be nothing left of the last offspring of Mothra after their feast. Both Dagoras, now nearly half the size of the original, returned to the embrace of the clouds once more, traveling south into the ocean apparently. When the world learned of the loss of their guardian, despair struck their hearts. Now the fate of the planet was uncertain. Will Earth's other mighty heroes rise and repel this threat, or will the Dogora signify the end of all life on the planet? Only time will tell.
We
Winner.
really
And
just
by
mean
time, we
Harley.
mean Harley.
There was another match that was
Yep.
connected with this, but we don't talk about that. Oh boy. Oh boy. Where do I start? I know where I could start to ease my mind. I like the banner. I think the banner has first off, I'll always defiant. I used the guys' little trading battle models, and I think they turned out fine. I think they turned out great, even. Granted, it's just literally 2 models still, but I think I know my sister gave me some pointers with this because this was around the time I was first starting to make banners. I was like, ooh, how do I do this? How do I make rain? How do I make it poof? And she gave me a lot of pointers, which have helped tremendously. So,
It's like Mothra was
can't
painted
tell if
in.
that's a compliment or not. You're just gonna give me a Mudo head pat in our chat. Mudo Prime head pat. Anyway. But yeah, no. Oh lordy, this match. Here's the thing. Its biggest flaw, 2 of its biggest sins right out of the gate are tensing and paragraph spacing. I think with how big the paragraphs are, it makes the actual match drag. I think had I broken down the paragraphs, it might have been a little easier on the eyes to read. So on that front, it's like, ooh boy, it's a little awkwardly structured. That makes it very hard to... That makes it drag a lot more than it should. I am willing... And there are parts of this story where I feel like his other powers could have been taken advantage of. Which one was it? The Sparkling Pyre Road has beams that go up into the air. He could have used that. There was another one. Oh yeah, the Division one I think is at least somewhat reasonable, but even so, I think that would have been good for getting the smaller pieces.
Because can you hit the division? Can the
that might
divided
just
ones
be
shoot
Aqua.
beams,
I don't
or is that just
remember
Aqua?
regular Leo doing it.
Aqua. I think it was just a regular Leo. It was
Moths
just
did
like
damage,
the
and I
moths
think,
did damage.
Yeah, with regular Leo, the moths
Maybe. I don't know. It's been a while.
Because
Right,
they
just
fly
like
it, they fly
sparkling
it Discord
explosion. So
as
it
a massive
could just be
explosion.
their energy. I think he was just an energy body at that point. So I don't think he actually would have been hurt by that. So I don't think I don't think they're no. Again,
Thing you missed out on.
yeah,
You're over an ocean.
it's
Why no
regular
Moth?
Mothra,
Why no
not
Aqua
Rainbow.
Mothra?
I'll get to that.
Why?
I do have a very specific reason.
Green
And
Mothra,
then
gotcha.
the powder thing. Again, even if it's not poisonous, though most Mothras powders or scales are poisonous by nature. Even if that's not the case with Leo, it still would have been great to disperse that, cover Dogora in that energy, and then hit him with smaller beams so it has a greater magnifying effect. So I think this one, they are in a storm. Yes.
On a storm, aren't they? So the
I
rain
don't
would
think-
probably
not
just
that
wash
easily,
those scales
I
away
would
too.
imagine. Heck, the lightning probably could have helped with that. So there are a lot of advantages I did not take. There are elements I should have taken better advantage of when it came to this fight. Better use more specifically of Mothra Leo. I feel like he's a little unrepresented here. I mean, don't get me wrong, I think that his core sense of characterization, sense of justice, I think is on point. But his execution in the fight, I think could have used more, leaves a bit to be desired. However, I will say this. I do not regret having Leo lose. This match was very much built for Dogora to win. Because at the time, Leo had not lost, Dogora had not won, and I think this is literally his second match of the bunch. Therefore, I do not regret having Dogora win. I think that element and its ending fit within my style of writing. And in a sense, even though it is blatantly imperfect, I think 153 does sort of highlight, here's what I do. Here's my writing style. It's very much a story of hope and despair, where, especially at the time I wrote this, despair triumphed. And I think in that front, I did want, and again, I did want, this was the reason I chose Mothra Leo over Rainbow Mothra, because I knew every other form of Leo is too strong. I literally went with the weakest version of Mothra Leo accessible. And even so, through this fight, I think it becomes obvious Leo is still equal or more than a match for Dogora. So it's like, but that is why I went with Mothra Leo instead of taking advantage of Rainbow Mothra and Aqua Mothra, was because I wanted to make sure that that giving Dogora the win was sensible, and that made sure that the victory given to Dogora made sense, given that this is Leo effectively at his weakest. And I mean that sort of like within, because even I know Rainbow Mothra kicks tail. Aqua Mothra also kicks just as much ours. And sure, that may be subjective, but to me, I placed Leo on a very high sort of benchmark. So I needed him to be in his weakest form for this to be like, I think I can pull this off in favor of Dogora. So that was the reason why I didn't take advantage of Rainbow Mothra or Aqua Mothra. They just would have destroyed him. And even so, the superficial elements of what attacks he couldn't use, I think in hindsight, I could have executed that. This whole thing could have been executed a lot better, but I think there is some strong imagery here to where I don't outright despise it. I like Mothra Leo's unsettling feeling to Dagora's like non-vocalized reactions. I think there's a lot of memorable elements here. It just needs to stay on consistent, tense bases and needs to be spread out more, so it's paced better. But yeah, I'm glad I could see all these weaknesses now, reading it over after all these years. Granted, I feel bad because it's like at the time I legitimately had pride in this, and it was like now it's like, oh, there's so much wrong. But the fact that I see so much wrong goes to show I've come so far too. So it's just but it's also somewhat upsetting for me because I know I don't get good until 275. Every other match before 275 are plagued with pretty much the same issues. And it's...
I wouldn't say that.
Right.
I think you're being a little hard on yourself.
Okay, so maybe
regard.
they're not that bad.
I agree with
I don't know. Nagoda threw the Voodoo Prime headband on me.
Like, maybe your matches up until that point did have some grammar issues, but
okay.
First off, they're not nearly as bad here. And those matches, the perks of the good things of those matches outshine the grammar issues.
Then fair enough.
Immensely.
Say what you may, I am always super hard on myself, and I am just bringing that here. Bring it, again. I do think there are legitimate points of Mothra Leo's attacks that could have been interwoven to continue the fight. But I did want to sort of highlight, even if it was kind of nerfing Mothra Leo, I did want to highlight that. It's like, oh yeah, no, Leo's immensely powerful, but these attacks do put a certain strain on him. You know, it's like, I didn't want it to seem like, oh, Mary Sue, Mothra Leo, that could just throw out beams from its ass. It's like, no, I wanted to have a very real sense of, weight to the attacks. It's like, oh, if he uses the Excel Dash, he's putting stress on himself. Oh, the Mega Breast Cannon, you know, that's energy being expended, you know, that kind of thing. So yeah, it's a match that I'm hoping to fix up one day. I do want to fix up sometime in the future, but I am still at least happy with it because it feels, even with the mistakes blatantly present, it feels like it represents who I am as a writer. And on that front, I am happy this is my first outing in the KWC. It is my second match, believe it or not. My first written match will be to 155, but that will be a story for another time. Whew. So, with that said, Grey Shot, what'd you think of it?
I'm now remembering why I did not remember this match, and that's because I agree. It kind of, this is like a very good example. If you were to, I think this is like an example of where you started out, Andrew, because I think this match is definitely unrefined, as was most people's first match at KWC, but you definitely could see where you were going from here. You have a lot of detail. There's a lot of detail, and there's a lot of focus on what's going on. But I feel in this case, the issue that takes place is it's just a little too much. Like, it's so focused on giving all this detail and everything. It kind of is overwhelming, especially with how it's set up with the large paragraphs. Like, it's a good fight. It's just, like, excluding even the grammar. It's just, like, going back, it's like, this is totally dense.
It kind of is, yeah.
But no, again, minus that, though, it's still, I still think it's a interesting match. I still think it's a good match. It just does have its problems. And I think for those that are willing to give it a read, they're going to get something from it. It's just, again, it's an early work from yours, and you're only going to get better from here on out. So, that... But yeah, this is kind of like the opposite of another KWC we did, which case it was so lacking in detail, it was kind of like candy. You're getting your vegetables, gosh darn it.
It's
you're
being
getting
shoved
all
down your throat in the process.
Yeah, you're getting your veggies, you're getting everything, whether you like it or not.
Yeah, this is an opposite. Yeah, this is the exact opposite of the previous match, which is it has too much detail.
Which is kind of shocking in a weird way, but I guess that is just the nature of my style. It's like jam-packed with a lot of stuff. Oof. Sometimes you just gotta learn to take it easy.
Yeah.
Do you have
Are we moving on to my thoughts now, or did Grey Shot have anything else to say?
Oh no, I am. Oh yeah, the banner. The banner I think is good. I think it looks a little weird. I'm never a fan of like the digital kind of assets being used. They always look a little weird. So I think Mothra looks a little too crisp and like it looks slightly off is the best way to describe it for me. But I think that's more.
Then why'd you add Bulker then?
He wasn't given a choice.
Kaiju X, would you? Kaiju X,
because Grey Shot didn't have a choice in the matter.
There we go. That's the what we want to look for.
So, but yeah, yeah, sounds about Kaiju X. I suck at writing. Also, Kaiju X makes some of the best matches the KWC has ever seen.
I mean that
you.
You are one of the best writers KWC has, hands down.
Right. Just not here.
Not
but again,
here, though.
It is this match and 155 are my starting out points. So we'll see where it goes. GVR, what'd you think of 153?
It is definitely one of your early matches. Well, it is definitely like I can see your style in it, but your style that is unrefined and not fully like perfected, because it has the hallmarks of your matches. It's very detail oriented, very dark and gloomy, has a lot of very large words. I sound like an idiot when I say
all
that,
the words.
It has
even
all the
words
words
I can't pronounce.
but I just mean like your vocabulary is very like refined. But here it is like there is too much detail, there's the points where it just felt like you were kind of thumbing through a thesaurus. And yeah, the grammar issues just bog the whole thing down. The imagery throughout the match is good. Like, I enjoy the atmosphere of this match, especially with the ending of, well, the hero losing. Because Mothra Leo is sort of seen as this invincible hero, so to see him be defeated like that is very ominous. And, yeah, like I said, the fight itself is well done. I fully understand your reasoning of just using regular Leo, because, yeah, Rainbow Mothra Leo
anything
is
Rainbow
absurd.
on up is pretty much to the point of absurdity, where it becomes ridiculously strong without nerfing for the sake of, like, storytelling purposes or whatever.
Yeah, Rainbow, you need, like, a Space Godzilla
From
or a Destroyer.
like, I guess sort of like comparing, I wouldn't want to say objectively, but it's the best sort of like in relative power scale, you would need a Space Godzilla or Destroyer to counter Rainbow Mothra. So, and it's like, I don't see Dogora beating that, because that's just too much for him.
No, I completely agree with that. That's why, like, when I got to when I use Mothra Leo, it's like, okay, what is Leo weak in essence against? And it's like something that would negate all of its firepower, speed, Mega Gears. So that was, like, for me, like, my mindset. It's like, well, most monsters would fail in a one-on-one fight, but you need to come at it from another angle. And Dogora, I think, does answer that with being like, you can pump it full of energy all you want, but it's just going to come back. Again, you never seen the movie, but theoretically, on, like, it's like Hedorah, right?
Right.
You blast and blast.
And even so, it's like near the end, it's like Leo has to contend with 2 Dogoras at the end there, and it's like, oh boy.
Yeah, great shot. I've noticed in your series, even though it takes place after Rebirth of Mothra 3, Armored Mothra is nowhere, and that's probably just because Armored Mothra would have soloed your story.
Actually, it does take place after, but I didn't use Armored Mothra because Armored Mothra, at least for the movie, only seemed like a temporary thing.
Yeah, that too.
So I used Eternal, and Eternal just goes back to Rainbow.
Right.
Yeah.
Basically, for the rest of the fight. Because there's, like, you never use anything.
Okay,
so
yeah.
Well, I guess we're just going to use this one.
Yeah. But yeah, just like Armored Mothra would have soloed 2.
Oh yeah, Armored Mothra. Armored Mothra. I'm unsure about Mega Gears, because Mega Gears was still far faster. But the only thing is, Mega Gears wouldn't be able to impale.
Armored Mothra can fly like Mach 15.
All Mothra Leo's forms can fly like Mach 15, so I guess that's nothing special. The way it's conveyed in the movie, I could see.
But yeah, it would have been a very short match if Armored Mothra was used. Especially against King Ghidorah Legendary. Like, if those two would have fought, it would have just been, okay, transcending fate and dead.
Yeah.
I mean,
Kaiju
sharp enough to cut through a wing. Think of what it's gonna do to everything else.
Yeah. Yeah, Kaiju, like I said, it's kind of hard for me to give, like, just a concrete rating to this match of, like, it was okay, or it was good, or it was bad, because it's all over the place. Like, it has way too many different pros and cons for me to just give, like, a concrete thing. But it's definitely not your best work, but it is a very clear starting point.
I'll definitely take that for sure. Yes. I think that's probably the best I could give myself, too. It's like, it's a little all over the place. I guess it's better. I guess not. It's entirely subjective. If you love it, great. If you hate it, understandable. Because I know my writing style is not everyone's cup of tea, but it's how I do it. No.
Too many big words.
Gosh, I don't think it's... just going on a slight touch, I don't think it's... Again, I think the major point for this match is it's just so dense. That, it's gonna... Right. It really has to be your style.
Ooh. Oh boy, I can't wait to see where I've improved from here. Anyway, Nagoda, what did you think of 153?
It was okay. Like, a lot of big words being used, and then there's icky.
You won't let that go.
Oh, never let that go, KWCs.
And then there's icky.
The banners... The banner, I really like the lightning and the storm. Like it's a purple storm for some reason, but it's still like interesting to see. Mothra Leo is like grayscaled and looks like he's a painting. I mean, I guess this whole thing kind of looks like it's a painting now that I look at it. Like the rain just looks like brushstrokes going across the paper. All but the lightning could be like works of paint.
Oh yeah, no, for sure. Actually, purple thunder. I do believe purple storms exist. That usually indicates like a tornado's nearby. They're like a really bad storm. So, I think it was meant to convey that it was night. But the fact, in hindsight, in the year of whatever, yeah, I'll still take it. Besides, purple's one of my favorite colors anyway. So, also makes sense. So it's like hell yeah.
Mm-hmm. So much for Leo being green.
No,
he's just like black really and white in this picture.
Teal, like a kind of almost grayscale teal, almost. But it was just a match in with the environment. That's all.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, no, all around solid effort. I like it.
Still waiting for someone to use Realistica in a Mothra match. One day we will invade Realistica.
So, do we have any additional thoughts or elements for 153, or?
This Andrew Sudamersky guy sucks at writing. I hope he doesn't write anything else.
Oh, I think I heard was someone going to say something there? Or that's just me? Okay, fair enough.
I think it was just you.
It's trying to forget.
Your dementia's acting up again.
But with that said, this has been match 153. And we'll see you guys next time for match 154. Oh boy.
Let's hope it's less icky than this match.